Oh, hello.
This individual appears somewhat elderly, but he holds his head proudly and his shoulders are thrown back. He nods benignly at you and a yellowish crown slips down a little lower on his brow. He clenches a short silvery rod with a bulbous tip firmly in one hand. This individual wears a placid expression as he piles one block atop another, playing quietly. The incongruous thing is that he appears to be a full-grown adult. Noticing that you're looking at him, he raises his arms to you with a hopeful look. The captain wants to know what these people can contribute to his efforts to put a halt to this ship landing on the colony town, and he's dubious about what he sees in this room. The Vulcan raises an eyebrow, finding the situation quite illogical. Bones seems to be thinking that the rather heavy individual sitting on the floor has the look of someone who has been emotionally deprived, someone who would benefit from some closer contact with others. Lieutenant Uhura shifts uncomfortably under the intense gaze of the elderly fellow on the throne-like chair. A piece of cloth. A book. A book.
Fair enough.
A plant. A normal-looking switch.
Captain, the man in that throne-like chair seems to be staring at me. Perhaps I should try to talk to him.
I'd like to examine these two individuals, Captain.
These two individuals may be able to tell us something, Captain.
This situation calls for a good diplomat or a good psychiatrist.
I believe we have one of each.
I believe this person has reached adulthood physically, Jim, but brain activity scans suggest he may have suffered a failure to mature intellectually. Remember, this is a new race, Captain. While these people are clearly humanoid, I may not have all the answers. This individual is a bit elderly, but not in too bad shape when you take that into account. He seems to be suffering some brain lesions that might be genetically linked. Nerve degeneration in the lower back.
I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you?
Jacobs.
What can you tell me about this place, Jacobs? Can I play with the blocks, Jacobs? Can you smile for me, Jacobs? Is there something you want, Jacobs? What can you tell me about this place, Jacobs?
The sweet-faced adult shakes his head no.
I've got a feeling that's going to be his answer for everything.
I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you?
Jacobs.
What can you tell me about this place? Can I play with the blocks, Jacobs?
The sweet-faced adult shakes his head no.
Okay. I think we should take Uhura's advice and let her talk to this man here.
What a noble-looking woman you are. You have my permission to speak. What a noble-looking woman you are. You have my permission to speak.
Okay.
You stand out remarkably, bearing yourself like a queen. Yet these Carls do not treat you as royalty. Surely you have royal blood flowing in your veins?
Bloodlines do not dictate who we listen to. We weigh a person's worth by their actions. My leader here is Captain Kirk, an admirable man. Speak with him. My ancestors ruled in the lands of Kush and Timbuktu. We may speak as peers, you and I. Royalty recognizes royalty, does it not? Look on me and decide for yourself. You will know. Bloodline. My ancestors ruled in the lands of Kush and Timbuktu. We may speak as peers, you and I.
Oh, I am so glad to find another of royal blood. I am so tired of sitting here all the time, but whenever I leave, thralls and lesser folk plant their fundaments on the great throne, and that's just not acceptable. I know you'll mind the proprieties and not let anyone else sit on the throne. And now, I'll finally be able to go and get some rest.
I wonder where he went to. I guess we'll find out soon enough.
An ordinary chair, originally similar to others in the room, except someone has nailed the legs onto a raised platform, increased the height of the back, widened the seat, and glued on broad and blocky arms. Bright paint in red and purple and gold gives it a garish appearance. Looks rather pathetic.
Soft. Nice. You get blocks now?
He gathers together the blocks and gives them out to you.
Thank you, Jakesy. It's very kind.
You get blocks now?
He smiles broadly as you take the blocks. No effect.
Okay, guess that's all we need.
The light bar connection is faulty, and only the wire is holding it in place. You manage to untwist a length of wire and a light bar.
We are just here to look around, Captain. I'm sure you don't mind.
Would it matter if we did?
Your doctor's discourtesy, though indirect, does no credit to your party, Captain Kirk. I would have expected better when we have done nothing to warrant rudeness.
We need not interfere with one another's activities, I think.
A wan-looking female stands dejectedly, her shoulders slumped. Her whole appearance expresses deep worry and bone-crushing weariness. The lieutenant is concerned by the weary look on the face of the person in the room. Bones seems to find these facilities of particular interest, especially the medical area. The captain is unmoved by the appearance of this room. The Vulcan scrutinizes the room, finding it functional but with little to spark the interest of his analytical mind. A Klingon officer whose direct and intense expression never wavers. A Klingon crewman wearing a look of disdain and distrust. A mechanized food delivery and recycling system not unlike what you see every day aboard the Enterprise. An unremarkable piece of furniture offering nothing but a flat surface from which to eat while standing up. A computer terminal with various access ports, a scanning rod, and a workspace. A large machine made from a red metal.
A female, just moving into middle age. Her overall level of health is fairly good. Vital signs are down marginally, and mental readings indicate a chemical array typical of severe depression. However, there are high levels of tranquilizing chemicals in her bloodstream. A shining example of perfect health.
Readings are normal, but before you get more than a moment's worth of readings, the Klingon captain notices and snarls.
At ease, Doctor. We don't want to start an incident here.
Whoops.
The food supply may be at the crux of the problem on the ship. I recommend a close examination of the ship's food whenever possible.
Captain, it appears that the inhabitants of this ship take it as given that food and medication go naturally together. With all respect to Dr. McCoy, I would dislike having a physician medicating all food that passed my lips.
Captain, I think that woman looks like someone we should talk with.
We will do that momentarily.
Captain, I'm seeing all these people as being under medication, or needing to be. And they're all unhealthy in one way or another. It really doesn't surprise me that they associate food and medicine. Their veins are probably always swimming with some chemical stew.
Hi there, I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you? Are you feeling all right, ma'am? Can you tell me what the problem is? You look so sad. Would it help to tell us why you look so down?
Do you have any children, sir? I do, a son, and I've just not treated him right. Tried to do right, but everything died, and I can't give him what he wants, what I think he needs.
A mother's job can be difficult. I'm sure you did your best for your son. Would you tell me about him? What is it you can't give him? What died? Did you hurt somebody? Something? A mother's job can be difficult. I'm sure.
Little Stam, Bob. I tried to feed him right, give him safe food. He really likes fresh fruit. Now he can't have it anymore, and it's all my fault.
Ma'am, hold on to this idea. It may not be your fault at all. We'll try to help. You have my word.
I'm sure we met someone called Stan Bob.
Your son still loves you just for trying. Of that I'm certain. He wouldn't want you to be so sad. Ma'am, hold. Your son still loves you just for trying. Of that I'm certain. He wouldn't want you to be so sad.
The woman's eyes brim with tears and she can't continue the conversation.
Don't bother me, you! Don't worry, Captain Kirk. If I have something to say to you, I'll speak up. You can be quite sure of that.
This machine appears to be made from solid uranium steel. It appears to contain computer processors for the medical unit. I detect numerous redundant circuits and failsafes.
Reminds me of Vulcan anatomy.
This mechanized food delivery and recycling system is similar to the Enterprise's system. One significant difference is that it includes a scanning feature on the person making the request for food. I also note that the machinery accepts used dishes and reusable materials for recycling, since this ship is a narrowly enclosed system. Captain, of the various mental conditions we have seen among the inhabitants of this ship, most, although not all, have been non-violent. Dr. McCoy may need to examine this data further, but I believe through the food dispenser, the individuals aboard this ship are regularly medicated, often tranquilized.
The machine whirs, lights blink, and a pre-packaged container of food is deposited on the tray. No effect. The box of prepared food is light and compact.
Oh. Okay.
A pre-packaged meal.
I don't think we can do much more here. Oh. Hello again.
Captain Kirk, leader, finds this room particularly green. The Vulcan raises an eyebrow when he catches McCoy grinning at him, but atypically holding his tongue. Bones eyes the Vulcan and wonders if, along with green blood, he might have a green thumb. Lieutenant Uhura seems to find this garden a pleasant place. A Klingon crewman wearing a look of disdain and distrust. A Klingon officer whose direct and intense expression never wavers. A large countertop well suited as a workbench with what appears to be mechanized assists and a hookup close at hand. A small data terminal seems to be part of the design. These plants look green and healthy, with strong stems and shiny leaves.
A shame there aren't any flowers, Captain, but the lushness of the greenery is still very pleasant.
This might be a nice little garden if they added some rustic wooden benches and a little fountain, I guess.
A hydroponics room, Captain. The console against the wall appears to be a workbench.
This reminds me of the Arboretum on Calliope 3, except the equipment didn't look this advanced.
Why would I want to chit-chat you treacherous Federation snake? My aide and I are merely observing. both you and conditions on this ship. Should I have an observation to share with you, I will certainly not hesitate to do so.
A square-shaped metal keg with a feeder hose attachment coming out of the side.
A chlorophyll-based plant species. Minor evidence of opportunistic disease incursion, but that appears to be secondary to reduction in overall plant vigor.
Whoops.
Nothing unusual about that object, Captain. This 60-liter capacity square metal keg is constructed of good quality steel with non-reactive steel alloy lining. Inside is a nutrient-rich liquid ideal for the growth and support of certain hydroponically grown plants.
I'm just a simple country doctor, not a magician. There's some things I just can't fix.
I only wanted to know more information about this plant.
I'm detecting a lot of proteins and nutrients within the keg. Organic matter in excellent condition.
I wonder.
A large countertop will...
There is nothing on the work console. Proceed with your work. This console is prepared to scan items anytime you are prepared to use it.
The feeder hose comes free and a mechanism pulls it out of the way. But a terrible stench rises out of the container, smelling like many things died in there long ago. The nutrient broth in this container has become contaminated. It should be disinfected before the container can be reused.
Oh, okay.
That is not logical, Captain. The stun setting will not sterilize the container. Captain, destroying the equipment will achieve nothing.
Whoops.
The container heats up rapidly and foul-smelling smoke pours out of the small opening on the top.
This container must be refilled with nutrient broth before it is replaced for use.
Two feeder hoses roll out on wired mechanisms and insert into the container. From one flows a clear liquid nearly filling the container. The other hose just makes burping noises. You take the metal keg.
No, I don't think that's necessary. No, I don't think that's necessary.
You settle the container back into the niche it was removed from. The feeder hose, looking shiny and clean, rides out on some mechanism and reattaches to the newly filled container. You hear gurgling, but it appears the liquid in the container is nothing more than the same nutrient-poor liquid that already covers the roots of the plants.
Oh dear.
The feeder hose comes free and a mechanism pulls it out of the way.
Inadequate nutrients.
A single feeder hose inserts itself into the container. Nothing flows out, however. It just makes burping noises. Multicolored blocks, suitable for a child to play with.
I'm not too sure of the logic behind this, but apparently this is what we need to do.
The blocks fit through the opening, splashing as they plunge into the liquid. The container heats up slowly and the sound of bubbling echoes from inside. You stop and the container quickly cools.
I think that did it, Captain.
Yeah, it seems to have done it, but I'm not too sure what I was doing.
You take the metal keg. You settle the container back into the niche it was removed from. The feeder hose, looking shiny and clean, rides out on some mechanism and reattaches to the newly filled container. You hear gurgling and see the nutrient broth begin swirling through the liquid medium. The dying plants seem to perk up before your very eyes.
There we go.